one.
Monterey Bay, a beloved community co-created with love and intention that welcomes all people, all nationalities, races, ages, cultures, ethnic backgrounds, economic circumstances, and religions. Whatever your immigration status, sexual orientation, gender identity, family configuration, and or abilities. And whether you're here with us in person or joining us virtually, we know that love knows no boundaries. We are one in spirit. As a purpose-driven church, Unity of Monterey Bay is an inclusive spiritual community committed to co-creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. We celebrate our oneness and honor the God of each of our understanding, affirming the innate good and divine essence within each and every individual. Would you please join me in our statement of faith? There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, intimate God beside us, inner God divine love in action. And so as we allow this knowing to deepen within our souls and serve to awaken us into enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings, I read once again from a book of blessings by Lynn Carty. May we be blessed in remembering mothers. May we be blessed in remembering mothers in our lives and faith, who bore, who nurtured, who risked, who suffered, who rejoiced. May we be blessed in remembering the mothers of our courage and kindness, who bore, nurtured, risked, suffered, and rejoiced. May their best be mingled with our best, and may that best be enough to give hope to a needy world and to bring joy to needy hearts. And so it is. And breathing into this moment of inner truth and gratitude, let us affirm together. Thank you, God, for this most amazing day. Miracle follows miracle, and wonders never cease. And now we celebrate our children. I was blessed my little grandkids were here before the service on their way to see their daddy at El Torito. But I know we're just all, we all have children, whether or not they're our own or our neighbors or our nieces and nephews or our grandchildren. And in truth, whether we're men or women, we all have that mother of God within us, just as we all have Father God within us. So as we celebrate this Mother's Day in all of the forms that it takes, and hold all those who have less than wonderful feelings about Mother's Day in our hearts and in our minds, and remind them that they have that inner mother love within them, regardless of what earthly circumstances have dealt them in this particular lifetime. We celebrate that mother presence, that mother love that is within us all. And so now is our time that we celebrate our children, and most of them have gone directly downstairs. They're getting too cool for school to come up and be blessed anymore, but we know they're down there. And so as we bring all the children in our lives into our hearts, including our kids downstairs and kids that are in our wider community and all the children of the world, we hold them in our hearts and see them protected and resilient, creative and evolving, joyous and loved as we join in our heartfelt blessing. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are. To embrace this blissful interconnection with Spirit and invite the chime to call us into this sacred space within. The chime 4 times to call in the 4 directions and remind us of our interconnection with all of creation and with the sacred circle of life. As we feel it resonate through our very beings, we follow its call into this now present moment within. Continuing to focus on our breath, with each inhale, we open our hearts and minds. We envision our breath reaching every cell of our being. And with each exhale, we see all barriers and obstacles dissolving into this divine flow. Again, as we inhale, we expand the spaciousness within us. We move beyond the limitations and boundaries of our bodies. And as we exhale, we ground ourselves deep within Mother Earth and into our oneness with the universe. Finally, we breathe our awareness into the highest expression of love, light, joy, and peace we can imagine as we experience a transforming wave of gratitude. And with a fullness of heart, we say yes to it all, embracing, claiming, and knowing the divine Christ Spirit expressing in, through, and as us. And with a final exhale, we say, thank you, God. Now fully centered and transformed by the power of Spirit, we enter into our lesson and meditation time with today's daily word.
We read from the Daily Word, shared with permission of Unity, publisher of Daily Word, that can also be found at dailyword.com. And the word is blessings for mothers. I invite you to allow my words to be your words. I bless all mothers with thoughts of gratitude. There's nothing quite like a mother's love, so nurturing, caring, and warm. Today, I bless the women in my life who express this love in all they do, whether it's the woman who raised me or any of the other women I know who generously shared a mother's love. I have felt the care of God through their tender touch and encouraging words. Over the years, I have grown strong, confident, under their kind direction, and have relied upon their wisdom. The divine feminine flourishes on earth in the loving words and caring hands of mothers and all those who share a mother's love. I bless them and pray they know the love of God as they have shared it so generously with me. And from scripture, then the mother of the child said, as the Lord lives, as you yourself live, I will not leave without you. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 30. In witness to the wisdom of the many paths to the sacred, we read from 4 sacred paths on this morning's topic, Mother's Love. Mother's Day, Mother's Love. From Buddhism, to support mother and father, to cherish wife and children, and to be engaged in peaceful occupation. This is the greatest blessing. Mangala Sutta. From Sufism, we are born to love. Love is our mother. Right. From Judaism, as one whom his mother comforts, so I will comfort you. From Isaiah chapter 66, verse 13. From Christianity, treat older women as you would your mother, and treat younger women with all purity as you would your own sisters. From 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 2.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Mother's Day.
Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. And as Vicki mentioned, she was sort of starting to steal my thunder there a little bit. I was like ready to hook her and pull her off the stage. Just kidding. This is a day that is very happy for a lot of people, sad for many folks, and a mixed bag for others. Depending on what our relationships are with our own mothers or with our own children, this day might evoke feelings of joy, or it might bring about great sadness. And for the mothers who have lost children, and of course the children who have lost mothers, it might be a day that is a reminder of great loss and re-experiencing that grief. So we hold all of those things in that presence and in that space of love. Whatever our stories around motherhood are, and however we feel about this holiday today, I hope we can all agree that it's an important day in which we acknowledge and recognize that incredible power of motherhood. A day in which we celebrate the bringing forth of life, the qualities of nurturing and caring, of teaching and supporting, and most importantly, of unconditional love. So whether or not we experience motherhood that way or not, we can honor these qualities as they exist in the world, as they exist in us, in our own lives, and as they exist in spirit. So today, I want to tell you about some extraordinary mothers. Some of them are human and some are not. And some of them I know and some of them I don't. But they all represent these qualities that we are highlighting and lifting up today on this Mother's Day of love and acceptance, nurturing, and heroic acts of great caring. So the first person I want to tell you about is my bestie, Lucy. I'm not going to cry here. Lucy's one of the most amazing women I know. She grew up in a colored township in Cape Town. Now, if you're not familiar, in South Africa, colored is the designation for that group of people which are mixed race. It's not a sort of bad word as it is here. That's how they identify. And so Lucy is colored. She's of mixed race. So she grew up in the colored township in Cape Town. She's a couple years older than me, so under the apartheid system that was very much still in place at that time in South Africa. She overcame great obstacles to go to university, to receive her law degree, and then to become one of the first colored women lawyers working in the prosecutor's office in Cape Town. Lucy is uber smart. She's incredibly capable, she's feisty and organized, a perfectionist. She has a wicked sense of humor and makes me laugh till I cry. But the quality that stands out the most about Lucy, and of course which we're celebrating on this Mother's Day, is her ferocious love for her son, Alex. Alex is 15 years old and has autism, and he is also one of my son's best friends. So when Alex was younger and he was failing to meet his developmental milestones and having delayed speech, not doing well in the public school system, Lucy pulled him out of school and dedicated herself to homeschooling him. She and her husband have a family business, and they worked very hard at the business so they could spend every spare penny they had on therapies, interventions, and all kinds of enrichment activities for their son. But Lucy would not just take her son to these activities. She would fully participate in them. So she did things like learn all the Taekwondo moves so that she could help her son at home and help him pass his belt tests. She has gone back and relearned high school math, can you imagine? So that she can teach it to him. And she basically uses up every minute of her time and every ounce of her own energy to do everything she possibly can to help her son, to help him succeed. She was doing it when I met her about 10 years ago, and she's still doing it today. She's relentless in her pursuit of every single thing that she thinks will help Alex succeed and set him up for the best possible outcome in life. And she's tireless in this pursuit, even when she is tired. And even when she is exhausted and stressed out and depressed and overwhelmed and sometimes burnt out and even struggling with her own health issues, she still is always doing everything she can for that boy. It's really something to see. So my bestie Lucy is a wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a lawyer, a business owner, an athlete, a brilliant writer, and an accomplished woman. But mostly she is a mother who loves her son unconditionally, accepts him totally as he is, and would do anything for him. What do you think the result is? Her son is thriving, learning and growing and doing new things every day. Lucy's truly an extraordinary mother, and she's one of my heroes. The next person I want to tell you about is another friend of mine named Joanne. Now, Joanne was married and raised a family in her 20s and 30s. And then, in her 40s, she remarried and had a daughter who was diagnosed with Down syndrome. That marriage ended, and so Joanne found herself in midlife, a time when most people are winding down. Rather than being able to rest on her laurels, she was now a single mother raising a child with Down syndrome virtually on her own. Her daughter is Faith, another one of my son's best friends, and sometimes girlfriend. Now, Faith is a character. She's alternately sweet, funny, energetic, and affectionate, and honestly, difficult, stubborn, and willful. This idea that people with Down syndrome are always happy is a gross generalization. They are people just like us that have the full spectrum of personality traits and emotions. Faith is a handful. But Joanne, a lot like Lucy, works tirelessly to keep faith involved in as many activities as is humanly possible. Joanne often works she does work a full-time job, but she often will work a full day commuting home from Gilroy, only to pick up Faith and take her to boxing, bowling, golf, swimming, or basketball. Many of the same activities that my son does, which is how we met Joanne and Faith many years ago. But that's not all. On top of full-time work and mothering and caring for Faith day in and day out, Joanne somehow finds the time and energy to coach Special Olympics. She coaches bowling, track and field, softball, and bocce ball. Now, we're sort of a small community, right? So they are always looking for volunteers. And ideally, it's not the parents themselves who are already overtaxed, you know? And I know they need help, and I'm kind of like, I can't do it. Like, I just can't, you know, I'm not willing to offer myself because I don't want to take on one more thing. But Joanne is not going to let those athletes miss a sport because of their not being a coach. So she continually steps up, even when she is already tired and maxed out. Now, most of you, I think, know last week, my husband and I and Alexander weren't here because we were up in Los Gatos at Campo di Bocce for a Special Olympics bocce ball tournament. Well, we were whining, I was whining, because I had to get up at 6 a.m. The kids had to be in Los Gatos at 8 o'clock sharp to be registered. So I'm sucking down coffee and bleary-eyed, you know, and there was Joanne. She was already there, she was already ready, she had her little clipboard, she was making sure that every child got their uniform, well, not child, these are adults, sorry, that every athlete had their uniform, that they knew which court they were on, that they knew where they needed to be, that nobody was getting lost, and that everyone was taken care of. So at one point, you know, we're watching the kids playing bocce ball, and I have my coffee permanently connected to my hand. And I sidled up to Joanne, and I was like, Joanne, how do you do this? Because she was cheering and, you know, just giving it her all. I said, aren't you exhausted? And she's like, no, this is so much fun. You know, God bless her. She is an extraordinary mother. I think it's safe to say another one of my heroes. So there's one more human mother I want to tell you about, and her name is Pam. And I know Pam from visiting with her while our kids are in some of these same classes I've been talking about, art class or golf or boxing. And it just so happened this past week while our kiddos were at First Tee that I had a chance to talk to her and get to know her a little better. And let me tell you, she is an extraordinary mother. Pam and her husband were raising their 2 teenage boys, who are now in their 30s, when her husband had a stroke and became permanently disabled. It would have cost Pam more money to pay for care for her husband than she was earning at her job, which happens a lot with childcare too, right? So she had to quit her job to care for her husband. But after a few years of doing this, she started to feel like she needed to do something more. Like she needed something else in her life that was for her, you know, and that could give her purpose and meaning and keep her busy and help her feel productive and useful. I mean, some people might have taken up knitting. Pam decided she wanted to take in foster kids. After having a few of them, she realized that this was something she really loved, and they just kept taking in more and more foster kids. To date, they have cared for 47 foster children in their home. Then, a few years ago, Pam decided that she wanted to start taking in special needs kids. Those with medical issues, feeding tubes, seizures, all kinds of things. Developmental disabilities. These are some of the hardest kids to place in foster care because a lot of people can't deal with feeding tubes and things like that. And sadly, many of the kids that are in foster care with special needs have fetal alcohol syndrome, and Pam has fostered some of those, often taking them in as newborns. As if fostering some of the most challenging and demanding children wasn't enough, Pam and her husband decided they wanted to adopt. They now have 4 adopted children who all have extensive special needs that they have adopted through the foster care syndrome system. The reason I even know Pam is because she is also there at all of those activities where I am with my son. And like so many of the hero special needs moms I know, she does everything she can for those kids. I have 1 of them. She has 4. She does everything to give them every opportunity to grow and learn and play and have fun and be around other people. But like I said, the difference is that Pam has chosen to take these children on because of her own kind, loving, patient, and gentle nature. And obviously, her huge heart. Now, I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to imagine having a heart big enough to take in special needs children that are not even your biological children. That's a big heart. And that have all kinds of medical and developmental issues, especially at an age when most people are starting to enjoy their retirement. Instead of winding down, she's winding up. But because of Pam and her husband's huge hearts and their capacity for acceptance and unconditional love, as I mentioned, 47 foster children have experienced what it's like to grow up and live in a home that is safe, that is loving, that is accepting, and that is supportive. And 4 of them have been lucky enough to become their forever children. I think it's obvious that Pam is an extraordinary mother and that she's making a huge difference in her community and in these kids' lives. So human beings are pretty amazing. But we're not the only species capable of producing extraordinary mothers. The next extraordinary mother I want to tell you about is the mama orangutan. Now, orangutan mothers are some of the hardest working single moms in the animal kingdom. First of all, baby orangutans nurse for up to 8 years. Now, I'm not going to tell you how long I nursed my own son. It was a long time, but it was not 8 years. This is a very long time in the animal world. And because of the long-term nursing, their babies are spaced out by 8 years, and they only have 1 at a time. Okay, that's something. But that 1 requires a lot of care. Orangutan mamas carry their babies around on their bellies for the first 4 months of their lives, rarely ever setting them down and never leaving them alone or out of touch, out of reach, for 4 months. But even after that, orangutan babies continue clinging to their mothers. You see the pictures of them hanging around their bellies, right? For the first 1 to 2 years of their lives. I love this part. After they reach 2 years of age, I guess it'd be like toddlerhood, some orangutan babies and mamas hold hands. Oh, so sweet. This is a behavior that is called buddy travel. So you can imagine mama and baby holding hands, moving through the trees together while eating and sleeping in the same nest and basically being always together. And some orangutan mamas carry their babies until they are a full 5 years old. Also, orangutans remain dependent on their mothers for the longest time of any other primate apart from us. Young orangutans do not become even somewhat independent until about the age of 10, when they can begin to find their own food and socialize with other groups. But they still remain close to their mamas even after that. I think it's safe to say that orangutan mamas are not getting much alone time. I'm starting to relate to them a lot. I mean, that's some pretty intensive mothering right there. orangutan mamas, much like human mamas, have to teach their babies, their young, everything they will need to know to be independent. There's some species that are just sort of born knowing what they need to do. Primates, we gotta be taught, right? So mama orangutans have to teach their babies how to forage for food, which foods are okay to eat and which ones are not, and how to build their own nests. Now, speaking of nests, orangutan mothers have to build a new nest to sleep in every single night. I don't know enough about it to know why they don't go use the same nest as last night, but they don't. They make a new nest every night. This adds up to 30,000 nests built in their lifetime. Okay, now I don't know about your babies, but my 23-year-old baby pulls the covers and blankets and sheets off every night and leaves them in a pile, and I have to remake his nest every night. But I'm not hopefully going to have to do it 30,000 times. That's a lot of nest making. So anyway, I can relate. I can relate to these moms. The next extraordinary mother I want to tell you about is the strawberry poison dart frog. Isn't he cute? He is a tiny little thing measuring less than 1 inch to 2.5 inches. Little bitty thing. I think they have these, if you've ever been to the California Academy of Sciences up in San Francisco, I think they have those there. These guys live in the rainforests of Central and South America and some of the Hawaiian Islands. Now, this tiny mother frog's journey to motherhood begins after mating, when Froggy Mama lays a clutch of 6 eggs, each no bigger than a pea. And she does this in the leaf cover on the forest floor. For the next 10 days, she has to protect and water these eggs constantly by urinating on them. When the eggs hatch, the new mama frog then performs what I think is a pretty incredible feat. One by one, she carries each tadpole individually on her back. You can see this in the picture. Climbing up a tree where she looks for a tiny pool of water smaller than a thimbleful in which to place each tadpole. Scientists say that this feat is the equivalent of us carrying a baby to the top of the Empire State Building. Now, each tadpole needs its own little pool, which could be any little cavity that fills with water, but typically they use bromeliad plants, because they kind of have these cupped leaves that form a little pool of water. So, Mama, one by one, carries each tadpole up and finds a little pool of water in which to place the tadpole. But, do you think there's anything to eat in a little pool of water? No, there is not. So now, Mama Frog begins her true work. She remembers where she has placed each one of her 6 tadpoles, in which tree, on which branch, in which tiny pool of water, on which bromeliad plant. And she then goes back in the following days to each tiny pool and lays an egg in the little pool, which will be the tadpole's food. And she does this over and over and over during their period of development. Pretty amazing, right? So then the tadpoles develop by eating the egg that she has laid, and then eventually develop into froglets and go off and are able to find food on their own. I think that's pretty extraordinary. The final mother I want to tell you about is one that you may not have even thought of as a mother in the traditional sense. And I'm talking about the mother of the forest, which is a 2,000-year-old redwood tree located at Big Basin State Park. Have y'all seen it? Her? The mother of the forest is 329 feet tall. You know, a shorty. 70-foot circumference she has at her base. She's enormous. But not only is she an incredible giant, just impressive to see by her sheer size, she is super important because she's one of the trees that served as inspiration for the movement to protect coastal redwoods. You know, there was a time when they were logging those things with no thought to the future. And they would not even be with us today if it were not for the inspiration of these giant trees who provided inspiration for the Semper Virens Club, which created Big Basin, which then became California's first state park in 1902. And Big Basin encompasses 18,000 acres of land and is home to some of the world's oldest redwood trees. Now you may recall back in 2020, the CZU lightning complex fires threatened those trees and burned up a lot of what many of us knew since children as Big Basin, the visitor center, and some of the other, actually I think most of the structures burned to the ground. I was following this because I was worried. I mean, I'm a big redwood tree lover. I was worried about those trees. I was thinking, my gosh, you know, these are like the oldest trees in the forest. But wouldn't you know, when the fires were put out, they were still standing. Charred, but still standing. Most of the majority of the old growth redwoods in Big Basin survived the fire. But the mother of the forest tree is worth our admiration, not just because of her sheer size and her ability to withstand natural disaster, but also because of what the newest research about trees is telling us about mother trees. Now, mother trees is a term used to describe the biggest and oldest trees in any given forest. We know now, thanks to some amazing researchers, that trees in a forest are social beings. They're not just plants. And that they form a complex organism of interrelated species that are all connected beneath the soil by this complex web of root systems and fungi, or fungi, or funguses. Funguses among uses. Scientists call this the mycorrhiza. It's a symbiotic relationship between a green plant and a fungus. I had no idea funguses were this important, but they are crucial to the survival of the forest. So through this complex system of fungus roots and tree roots, we know that trees actually communicate with one another. They send signals, they share resources, and they even pass on genetic and learned wisdom to their offspring. Now, in this system, the mother trees play a very important role. They function as the sort of hub in these communication systems. They are the ones that are the most connected with the most roots. Sound like any human mothers you know? The ones that are sort of connected to everything, right? The mother tree is like communication central. She knows what's going on in the forest, who is where, who is doing what, and who needs what. These mother trees, it has been found, actually nurture and care for their younger trees in the forest in a way that we never imagined before. For example, a mother tree can recognize its own sapling, meaning a sapling that sprouted from itself. They regenerate, they reiterate themselves from their own DNA. They have their DNA. So the mother knows which ones are her genetic DNA kin. And she can send them extra nutrients, more carbon, and more water to them as needed. Are y'all impressed with that? Because, I mean, that boggles the mind. The fact that she even can recognize her own kin. I mean, obviously these beings are far more advanced than we were giving them credit for a long time. But like most mothers, she will not only help her own kin, she will also help others, neighbors, the neighborhood kids. She will help them also when they are in distress. It seems to me that these trees have a better handle on oneness and interconnectedness than we do. You think? And we can learn from them. So the mother trees are also important because they are the source of a forest's resilience and renewal in the face of modern stressors like climate change. These are the ones who are going to be able to preserve themselves by helping the other trees. And they may actually be the ones that end up saving us, at least saving themselves. I don't know if we're going to make it, but they're going to save themselves. So these extraordinary mothers that I've mentioned today, both human and otherwise, they exemplify these traits that are remarkable, that we lift up and that we recognize and we honor on this Mother's Day. Perseverance, fearlessness, selflessness, deep nurturing and caring, profound compassion, radical acceptance, and unconditional love. So we may or may not have experienced motherhood that way in our own lives, or we may have experienced it to a greater or lesser degree. And we can't change that, right? But we do have the opportunity to work to develop these qualities in ourselves so that we can offer them to others, to our own children. And ultimately, we can begin to offer them to ourselves. So if we work at this, we can learn how to nurture and love ourselves in ways that maybe we didn't get as children. And that will be deeply healing for us, helping us to overcome those things we didn't receive that we needed. This is commonly called parenting our own inner child. Learning to be present for ourselves, to accept ourselves, and to retrieve any broken or wounded or fragmented aspect of ourselves, and loving and nurturing those parts and integrating them back into the whole. Because as we do that work and as we heal those unloved places in ourselves, we will begin to find that our own capacity to love and nurture and care for others is expanded. Now, if this feels challenging to you, please remember that it begins by us accepting the unconditional love of God. That's where it begins, right? By knowing that we are deeply loved by that which created us, and that infinite love of Spirit is always available to us, that it's all around us, ready and willing to pour itself out into us if we would but do the work of opening ourselves more to be able to receive that love. God doesn't need to give us more love. We need to open up to receive more of that love of God that is always there. And when we do that, it can flow through us and radiate out to others. We too are made of that same endless flow of divine love. It is our nature and it is our birthright. And this is what we celebrate on this Mother's Day today. Now to prepare for some time in meditation by bringing our awareness into this time and space. Maybe allowing our awareness to begin to rest in the sensations of our body, feeling our bodies sitting here, resting on the seat beneath us, feeling ourselves supported, held, that we are safe here in the loving presence of God. And just gently finding our breath now. Being aware of that inflow, being aware of the outflow. Making the inhale a little bit deeper, remembering that belly breathing we talked about a couple weeks ago. Allowing our bellies to expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale. Breathing in deeply that breath of life. And exhaling, feeling that sense of letting go. Just noticing the sounds around you. The trickling of the water. All of these sensations of touch and sound, they help bring us into the present moment. So just notice as your awareness is dropping now out of the head, the intellect, and dropping down, down through the body, coming to rest in the heart space. Feeling as if you were breathing into the heart with each inhale. And breathing out through the heart with each exhale. Just letting your awareness gently rest on the heart space. Feeling the relief and the settling that comes with dropping out of the brain. Dropping into the body, into a different kind of awareness, different kind of knowing, letting thoughts just roll by. So we just rest and breathe. Scripture reading this morning, we had the words of Rumi. We are born of love. Love is our mother. We are born of love. Love is our mother. So I invite you now, as you prepare for the Mother's Day ahead, whatever your own feelings and experiences of this day are, I invite you to allow those words to settle into your heart. That we are made of love, born of love. Love is our mother, it is our shelter, it is our safety. It is the place where we can be and rest and know our connection with Spirit. So I invite you now to just rest gently in that heart space, in that love that is your mother. Just allow yourself that space open and activated as we move into the rest of our day to day. And so we give thanks for all the children of the world, for all the mothers of the world, for all of those mothering qualities, and especially for our own mother, Father, God. So we say thank you, sweet Spirit. And so it is.
Unity of Monterey Bay is the collective consciousness and commitment of all of us who give of our time, treasure, and talent in order to sustain this spiritual community that is dedicated to transforming lives. We know that prosperity is a state of mind that finds blessings in every situation and abundance in joyous generosity. We transform all appearance of fear or lack into faith-filled peace of mind by shifting our attention to thoughts of gratitude for the abundance of God's good in our lives. As the ushers come forward, I invite you to think of something specific you're grateful for in this moment. I'd like to say that I'm grateful for Michelle. There was a time that Nicole and I were downstairs taking care of the kids, and we needed to make a bulletin board. We had crayons and markers and big letters and small letters, but we didn't know how to put it together. And Michelle walked in there and she said, "What's going on?" I said, "We need to make a bulletin board." And she's like, "Oh." And she's like, "Top, top, 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 top." And we was like, "Oh, that's beautiful." we looked at each other in awe, Nicole and I. We was like, "Oh." Then Michelle, she just walked out. Walked out the room, and we were like, Nicole and I was looking at each other and was like, "Who's that mask one?" Somebody said that was the Lone Ranger. Yeah, she's an extraordinary mother. And now, with our hearts and minds overflowing with gratitude, we breathe into the divine flow of God's good, trusting that we are enough, that we have enough, and that there always is enough to both have and share. If you give online through automatic payment from your bank, by credit card or monthly, we are grateful. Please join us in this faith. Please join us in faith and gratitude, demonstrating mindful intention by holding the basket and blessing it as it passes to you, and joining in our offertory blessing. I am an open channel for God's infinite good. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies everything I give and everything I receive. I am both blessed and a blessing. Thank you, God.
it is with great joy that we bless and give thanks for these gifts and offerings that demonstrate our collective commitment to the spiritual work of love and transformation in our lives and in our world. We dedicate this offering, our lives, and this ministry to more fully expressing the Christ light that is the truth of our being, and to inviting all people to know God's love. Finally, knowing that one with God all things are possible, we affirm together, the good is now, the rest is blessed, and the best is yet to be in our lifetime. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. We want to thank Malvina Reynolds, Jan Aldridge Clanton, Richard Burdick, Michael Stillwater, Carrie Landry, and our awesome music team, led by Denise, and of course with Sue and Marianne and John and Rob. For announcements, we refer you to check our e-blast. We have a date now for our banquet, which is going to be September 19th. It's a Thursday. Tuesday. Oh, sorry, it's a Tuesday. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you're thinking towards that. Let's see. We'll have more information about that as we get closer.
They should have gotten a little handout.
There's a handout. What does the handout say?
It's got all the dates that you're going to
okay.
cover here.
Oh, all of these dates.
Yes.
All of these things coming up. See how handy that is to help you remember, because we do have a number of things. So this is the final reminder that Saturday is COPA's 20th anniversary convention. We highly urge all of you to join us there, 5 to 7. We are meeting here at 4:30 for...
Actually, 3:30.
Oh, okay.
It starts at 4:30.
It starts at 4:30. There's entertainment.
Here, I'll get it.
Convention.
Okay. All right.
It's finally here. Some of you might not know, Unity is a member of the COPA, Communities Organized for Relational Power and Action, working with 27 other institutions in Santa Cruz, Monterey County to make good things happen for people in our community. We're celebrating our 20 years on Saturday. It's at the Golden State Theater, 5 to 7 p.m. We're hoping to have anywhere from 500 to 700 people and fill the whole bottom floor of the theater. We're going to have 3 mayors there, perhaps a Senator Caballero and other policymakers who we are going to ask them to agree with our agenda, because somebody's agenda is always being acted upon on affordable housing, care, disaster care in Pajaro, and keeping good jobs here in this area. So we're having a gathering here at the church from 3:30 to 4:15 with some finger foods and drinks. So you can park here, walk down together. We'll also have carpooling here for anybody who wants to go. We're asking people to be in the theater by 4:45, anywhere. There will be no registration at the door. You'll be able to walk through the doors. They will show you. We will be sitting as a group. We hope to have anywhere from 30 to 45 people there from Unity. You will sit as a group. Michelle will be our captain there, and there you will do sign in, get your headsets, because it will be a bilingual. So if you're not bilingual, you'll have a headset. Some things will be in Spanish, some things in English. And it should be a very inspiring evening. Hope to see you there.
There'll be entertainment.
Yeah, there's entertainment from
5.
probably 4:15 to 5. So you'll be entertained with music and local musicians as we're getting ready for the event. That will start promptly at 5.
Might I add, it's not too late to sign up.
No,
We're still like to have more people.
come and join us.
So come join us, it'll be fun.
You forgot to tell them about the best part.
Oh, and we'll have T-shirts. I think it'll be a color that everybody likes.
It's like what you're wearing.
It's very pretty.
So you can pick your T-shirt up here at the church, or we'll have some at the seats, and we will be vocal and excited to represent Unity at this event.
Karen's trying to say something.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, new sign-ups are in the back. If you
Oh,
want to
okay.
sign up with an email.
Okay,
Or
thank you.
just see one of us.
Yeah, or just see one of us, Marianne, Jan, Linda, me,
Vicki? There you go.
So you can read the other things on your announcements, but summer dinners are coming up, so you want to be thinking about that, whether you'd like to host one, and there's a sign up for that in the Sacred Ground. The highway cleanup continues. It does need support, so if you're interested in that, see one of us. And this is just another save the date. July 2nd will be our big anniversary celebration, where we're going to be celebrating Vicky's 25th, my 4th, and 23 years of the church being an independent unity church. So that will be a barbecue potluck, and there will be sign-ups and more information coming. And don't forget that next week, right after the service, just after, a few minutes after, because we don't know exactly what time we finish, but the choir that practices here is going to be singing, probably about 11:30. But you'll have time to grab some coffee and a snack, and then the concert will begin. So before we close, I want to have our kids come up because it is Mother's Day. And I want my own kiddo to come up. If you want to show what you made today, you could do that too. Yeah. Io, do you want to come up? I want you to see all of these beautiful children, these beautiful lights. Is that for your mama? That is so nice. So we just want you all to know how important you are and how grateful we are that you made, some of us mothers made all of us mothers, and we love you and accept you. Sorry. Just as you are, and can we give you our blessing? We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you just the way you are. I see that Casey. Very nice. Out of popsicle sticks. Beautiful. All right. So let's go ahead and form our closing circle for our prayer for protection. And as you're forming the circle, I will let you know that our prayer chaplain on duty today is Larry Saints, who is available to pray with you after.
So they're not cutting. They have roots, right? Let's see. Okay. Hello.
You sure know my wife told me
It's really great to have folks back with us today. We haven't seen for a while. It's so wonderful to have you with us. We're so glad, and all the new faces. We're just so grateful that you joined us today. Let's hold in this circle. Let's just hold that heart of the mother. All the mothers. Those that are grieving, those that are celebrating, everything in between. Our own mothers, our own children, our own inner mothers, all the animal mothers, tree mothers, all of the life-giving force on our planet, and all of those wonderful qualities of nurturing and love and acceptance. We give thanks for all of it. Please join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I